triple G, I so called it. Varric. Freaking Varric. Oh my gosh. I don't remember if I said it in my thoughts on or my second thoughts on, because if it was in my second thoughts on, I don't think I posted that yet. But during one of those two, I said, wouldn't it be funny if Varric was evil? And I said I was going to be really sad if Varric was evil. And he is. And I'm kind of sad. I thought I was going to be more sad, but I'm not. I'm actually I laughed, especially when he turned around and did his, like, evil face. That made me laugh so hard. I sat there, I'm like, there were too many coincidences. There were too many coincidences anyway. I mean, with the whole thing with the South getting all of the weapons and stuff like that, the ships getting attacked, there were too many coincidences. And I mean, I guess I should have caught on to that, being the reason why Varric was evil and not just because he was a new character. But the fact that he was using that as a means to ship all of those things to the South, I guess in his support of Tarlock. They're so alike that I wanted to call him that. Unalak. Because I think he's from the north, if I remember correctly. He's from the north too. So, yeah, it's quite interesting. Because Varric was... Ooh, there's a train out there. Varric was very intelligent with his way of weaving himself into the lives of Team Avatar, the new Team Avatar anyway. And with the whole thing, at first, when I was, like, maybe when the episode was about to be over, like, it was 5 minutes before it was over, I'm like, oh, that was kind of a boring episode. I thought it was just going to end with, you know, Asami's like, oh, my company's gone, or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's sad. Next episode. Well, that was a total tease. But it actually mattered in the end. And, you know, Avatar is usually good for that. Having an episode that seems like it means absolutely nothing, and then in the end, it's like, oh, look, it matters. I thought that was really cool. But before I talk about Korra, of course, this episode, I thought it was quite interesting. And then when Asami kissed Mako, I saw that coming. I mean, everybody probably saw that coming. It was pretty obvious. Especially when she found out that he had broken up with Korra. See, here's the thing about Asami. At least she found out that they were broken up before she decided to impulse kiss him. Yeah, take some notes, Korra. Anyway, I thought it was really smart of Varric the way that he wove himself into their lives, especially with Bolin and then with Asami, because he kind of strung them along, and in the end, you know, he was like, okay, I've got you. He's like a mad genius. I mean, I hate to compare him to Boomy, even though he's awesome, but Varric, I mean, applause, Varric, so much applause. I still love Varric's character, especially now that we know that he's a bad guy. Well, of course it's not confirmed that he's a bad guy, but we're all assuming that he's a bad guy. I mean, he had the evil guy grin. All the stuff that the Triple Threat Triads and all the bad people were using were from his company. So, I mean, it was cool to me. My question is where it's going to go from now. I think Mako's going to end up being, not like the boy who cried wolf, but, you know, no one believes him now, and no one's going to believe him still. And like you said, I'm really close to proving it. I hope he doesn't, you know, try and spill the beans before he actually has some sort of proof. But, because if he does, then that's just going to totally take him down another 5 notches in Beifong's belt. Because I think right now Beifong's already kind of pissed with him. So I don't think it's a good idea for him to come to Beifong with this. Unless he's absolutely sure and has evidence that he's absolutely sure. Because Varric, everyone loves Varric now, I guess. He's very eccentric, and I think that's really what's interesting about him. Is what I wonder about Varric is why he's doing what he's doing, where his loyalties. Well, obviously his loyalties, I would assume, lie with the North. But my question is why? When he could pretty much, it seems like he could pretty much have whatever he wants. Because he's freaking rich and owns the world. He doesn't own the world. What am I talking about? But him with his movers, and you know, he's making a lot of money. He's got a lot of stuff. He's got Republic City basically in a hold. So I wonder what's going on with that. And also I want to know, with this movie, does he just have enough leverage that he's able to do this without having any detrimental effects? And by that I mean, he's making a movie that is defaming the North, and Unalaq, and depicting him as evil. Everyone's following along to Nuktuk's things, but my question is, why is he doing that? Because if he's really on the North side, why is he making this movie? But my only thing would be that, of course, they haven't finished filming all the episodes, I guess you could call them, yet. And maybe there's some sort of twist at the end that causes the North to be kind of glorified in a sense. So, I wonder and he'd be like, okay, Bolin, you have to do this, and Bolin will just be like sitting there like, I don't know about this. And then, Bolin, he's not a pushover, but he's easy to convince. So, I mean, I don't know. My question is, what are Varric's motives in regards to the movie and in regards to the Northern Water Tribe in and of itself? Is it just because he's just that much of a patriot that he's just like, oh yeah, Northern Water Tribe all the way, let's just do this, let's, take everyone down. And the fact that he's evil, oh my God, I'm still geeking out about it. Sorry to bring up a line from Syndrome, but I'm still geeking out about it, man. I mean, it's so cool to me. I mean, it's cool. Okay, and then of course you want to talk about the end. Oh, well, let me talk about this first. I forget the two guys' names. Bobo and Robo, I guess. I'll just call them that. Bobo and Robo were the cops that work at, I guess they're detectives. And they're like, it's the Northern Water Tribe. Initially, when I first saw them, I thought they were the bad guys. But, I'm assuming that's not the case. They're just stupid and jerks. So, I guess now that Varric's the bad guy, you can kind of rule them out, I guess. I don't know. I don't rule anyone out in this show anymore. But, of course, when you first a lot of people when they first saw Varric, they're like, maybe he's gonna be a bad guy. And I thought maybe that he was gonna be a bad guy too. I thought it was gonna pain me a lot more than it did. It didn't. Okay, my camera just cut itself off because I didn't have enough memory, so I had to go and delete some stuff. But as I was saying, the best part by far, to me, is the fact that Varric is evil, because it kind of generated some excitement for me. I don't know. It's just nice to have a bit of a twist. Because he wasn't an obvious bad guy, and I think having Unalaq at the very beginning being the obvious bad guy is, I mean, the fact that Varric is a bad guy kind of rectifies all that, and it makes up for all the obvious bad guy vibes that he was giving out, because Varric was a guy that he could be either way, you wouldn't know, but he just seemed like he was, over time you got to know him, and it seemed like he was just genuinely crazy and not so much evil. So, I mean, at the beginning you could think, okay, maybe this guy's gonna be evil. But over time you kind of let your guard down. And I think that's really very much what happened with Varric. After a while I let my guard down, and I'm like, okay, this guy's good for it. What am I talking about, evil? Doesn't make any sense. But this, I think the way they did that was really nice, because they made you love this character so much, and then they're like, in your face, yeah, he's bad. And I thought that was really cool, and I really want to see what he's gonna be like now that he's really out in the open evil. Well, not really out in the open evil to everybody else, but only Mako's the one who knows. And apparently he knows that Mako knows, because he came in and he was just like, oh, by the way, I think I know who did it. And he just like turns around all evil with the evil grin on his face. I keep talking about the evil grin that was on his face, and I don't know why, but it was a cool scene for me to watch. I can't wait until the morning when I can buy it on iTunes and watch it again. But the look that was on his face was genuinely, I mean, it wasn't creepy. It was kind of creepy, but it was just cool to look at. Sorry, that was my mom. But no, it was genuinely creepy, and I don't remember what I was gonna say after that. Oh, yeah. It was a creepy look, but it was a look that wouldn't, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, he had the downward brows and the evil grin, and he's just like, it didn't, let me put it this way, it didn't look like the other iconic villains of Avatar, how they would have their grin. It was not an Azula grin, it wasn't an Ozai grin. well, I guess Zuko didn't really have a grin. It wasn't a bad guy. It wasn't even a long fang. It wasn't even a long fang grin. It was just an evil grin that was so twisted. I think the way that they drew it was wonderful. It was just so twisted looking. It looked crazy. It wasn't crazed, but it looked crazy, and I thought that was really cool. The way, I mean, the attention to detail that they have in the show is just one thing that I really like to admire. Is the fact that his face was so, I mean, it's an iconic face. The way that I think that's why I keep coming back to it. It's just the way that he positioned his evil smirk towards Mako. It was a knowing smirk. It was a you have no idea what I'm up to smirk, but you know, we know that he's evil, but you don't know anything, basically. I mean, Azula in the end had her insane, crazy look, but this guy, he's got his off the wall kind of crazy genius look. And I thought that's really cool. I think I should stop now, because otherwise I'm going to talk about Varric for this entire video and his evil grin, and that's just going to be like the basis of this entire video. But really, I should move on to what's really, really important that only got about 30 seconds of screen time, but was really cool and important. I think it was cool. I don't know. Was Korra. I mean, at the very, very, very end, last few seconds of the show, you get your taste of Korra, and, you know, where the heck has she been? Of course, earlier in the show, you see the demon twins talking to their dad, and, like, oh, yeah, well, we were gonna bring, and he's like, where's Korra? And apparently, I think he was in the spirit world. That's what his kids asked him, and he's like, never mind, it's not important. And, he comes out of this, like, so I guess he was in the spirit world. I don't know. He comes out of the spirit portal? I don't know if that's what happened, but, the kids were just like, did you just come out of the spirit world? He's like, never mind, don't worry about it. And he's just kind of dismissive of it, so I'm really wondering what the heck's going on, because if I remember correctly, in the Avatar The Last Airbender, the only person other than the Avatar that I can remember that went to the spirit world during a time that it was not a solstice was Iroh. Because, of course, during, I think it was the winter solstice, people were taken into the spirit world by Heibai, including Sokka, who got stuck in the spirit world for a while. But other than that, traveling back and forth to the spirit world, that wasn't something that was commonplace. Definitely not something that was commonplace unless you were the Avatar. The only one that I can think of off the bat would be Iroh, who did it. And of course, we don't know the details of that. Well, I don't, unless there's like some sort of secret White Lotus-y type of Illuminati secret knowledge that I don't know about what Iroh did in the spirit world. But anyway, there was that, and then the twins, they were just like, yeah, we had her in our grasp until the dark spirit attacked her, and then Eska's just like, yeah, she's dead, assuming that she's dead, which is kind of a dumb thing to do, because if you get eaten by a spirit, you don't usually assume death right away, especially if you're the Avatar. I mean, it seems like it should be, you know, whatever. And also, if I remember correctly, the sages' temples, I know the fire sage temples, I don't know if there's any other temples out there that do this, but whenever the Avatar dies and is reborn, they like light up or something like that. So, I don't know, maybe, well, obviously they've got their own civil war going on, so they don't have really any communications with the Fire Nation right now. But anyway, gosh, this is just a day for interruptions, isn't it? Sorry. I don't even remember what I was talking about anymore. Oh yeah, Korra. Yeah, like I said, they just immediately assume that she's dead, which I thought that was kind of absurd. But other than that, she wakes up on some sort of island. I at first assumed that she was in some part of the spirit world. But I like how they made us know that she wasn't in the spirit world because she got up and airbent. So, of course, you can't bend in the spirit world. But she wakes up and the fire sages are there. So I guess, because she was on her way to the Fire Nation in the first place. So I guess she's close. She's close to not the Fire Nation capital, but she's close. So she ended up in the Fire Sages, the beach by the Fire Sage Temple. So the fire sages come out and they're just like, okay. And then I'm not sure if they immediately know she's the Avatar or they know she's the Avatar because she airbent. But they're just like, Avatar Korra, they're like, are you okay? We're at your service or whatever. And so she's just like, yeah, but who's Avatar Korra? Like, she lost her memory. And so, honestly, I really liked that. I don't know why, but I really, really liked the fact that she lost her memory. Maybe it's because with it she lost her personality. But, you know, I also found it very interesting that in her moment of fear, she airbent as opposed to doing anything else. When she thought, I guess, she was being attacked or she was just scared, I don't know, she airbent. And usually her first instinct is to firebend. I thought that was, maybe it's just me, but I thought that was really interesting. Kind of, I guess, her change of, not character, but losing her character and losing what made Korra, I guess you could say, was a lot of her abrasiveness, I guess you could say. And so since her personality and everything was lost in her memories, she lost what Korra was, I guess you could say. And I really want to know why that happened and how that happened. I know the spirit swallowed her up, but maybe the spirit wasn't a dark spirit anyway in the first place. Oh, and I have another thing to say about that too, but maybe it wasn't a dark spirit in the first place. Maybe it was just a spirit that was sent to, you know, either A, save Korra, or take Korra to a place that she needed to be. And if it's to make her go through some sort of mental metamorphosis or something like that, then I'd be really okay with that. That would, like I said, then that would make everything that they did at the beginning of this season worth it. If they made it so that she was a lot less abrasive and annoying and that she had to go through this change in order to do so, then that would make sense why they made her so abrasive in the beginning of this season. And I can be like, okay, I can sort of forgive you for that. Along with, you know, the way Varric is the recompense for, I keep wanting to call him Tarlok, Unalak. That's not the word I was looking for. But anyway, I guess in the end, the reward, the payoff for, you know, having to sit through all of this during the first 5 episodes is this. You get an episode where things feel like they're shifting now. Of course, this episode really does feel like it's the mark of the shift. This is episode 6, I think. The Sting. I forgot to mention the title, but it felt like things are shifting now. The things with the villains, which kind of annoyed me, is he was an obvious villain. I didn't say he was a bad villain. He's probably a very good villain, especially with the spirits. I thought that was really cool, and he's got a lot of mystery, and I really want to know what's behind all that. But a shift in the villains from, stop wanting to call him Tarlok. Sorry. From Unalak to Varric, which of course they're both still villains, and from Korra's abrasive personality to her having almost no personality. Of course, we'll have to wait till next episode to see, you know, what comes of this. But you know, she wakes up, and I love that shot when she first wakes up. It looked like a legit anime when she first wakes up, because the way the lighting is and the way that she's drawn looks like a legit anime, and I thought that was really, really cool. Also, her hair when it's messed up is absolutely gorgeous. I just figured I should say that. And no, I'm thinking back too far. But when she wakes up and she's just like, who's Avatar Korra? And she's like, I can't remember anything, and she's just like reasonably freaking out. The reason why she can't remember anything, the fire station is like, okay, we're on your side or whatever. I want to know where this is gonna go from here. A, how did she lose her memory? B, why did she lose her memory? C, where's the spirit that swallowed her? D, is her going into the spirit world going to be the way that she gets her memories back, or is it going to happen some other way? But yeah, there's also something else I was remembering. The demon twins were talking to their dad, and they're just like, okay, these spirits are getting out of control. And then I find it interesting that they bring that up, because maybe Tarla, maybe Unalaq is sort of losing control of the spirits. Of course, he was able to whatever that thing is called. I don't know what it's called. They still have not given a name to it, and if they have, I either just wasn't paying attention when one ear went out the other, or they just haven't named it. I don't know. And I find it interesting the fact that they mentioned that because Korra was not able to dispel it after she did that turny, windy, sparkly thing. She wasn't able to dispel the spirit with the thing, and it looked like she had done it exactly. Well, it looked like she had completed the circle or whatever the glow gold thingy is. I am not very good with terminology, as you can see, but it seemed like it was done until that very last moment when the spirit reemerged, and that's what kind of made me think that maybe it wasn't a dark spirit that needed to be dispelled, because it wasn't a dark spirit in the first place, and the spirit was sent specifically to take Avatar Korra on this journey, I guess. Or maybe she went to the spirit world and then she lost her memory somehow. I don't know. Speculation. But yeah. Clearly the demon twins doubt their dad's ability to control the spirits fully. Either that or they know that something has gone wrong in the past and that it could go wrong. And the fact that they said that, I mean, I thought this from the very beginning, but the fact that they said that the spirits are getting out of control made me, I mean, that kind of, enforced my thought that he was the one who was controlling the dark spirits and were summoning them. So that's another thing I thought that he did. Yeah. I mean, there's not much that I can think of right now other than that. Because this episode, again, I don't remember a lot of the details from the beginning of the episode. I was kind of bored. I wasn't bored. I'm always intrigued by the episodes, but it just seemed like, oh, it's another episode until the very, very end, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that flipped the world on its side. I like that. And also, whenever Asami kissed Mako, my first reaction was this. I'm like, are we really going to do this again? I mean, are we really going to go through this whole cycle again? And the fact that he kind of treated it kind of awkwardly was kind of funny to me. She's like, I'm sorry. And he's like, okay, it's fine. It made me giggle a little bit after that. But honestly, I have very strong feelings against Makora. So I really cannot stand Makora. And at the end of book 1, I couldn't stand to see him with anyone else either. I didn't want Mako to be with anyone, and I didn't want Korra to be with anyone. I didn't think romance should have been a part of the equation in the first place. I think there's a world to save, focus on that. Romance isn't really that big of a deal. And like with Avatar, the fact that he liked Katara was kind of sprinkled in there throughout, but it wasn't like a major plot point. They weren't stopping important plots to talk about the fact that Aang is really in love with Katara. The love story didn't interfere with the plot, and that's what I felt like it did with Korra, especially in book 1. In book 2, I wanted them broken up so bad. Oh my gosh, I wanted it to end. It was just, it made me want to gag watching them be smoochy with each other, and I was just like, ugh, please stop. And after they broke up, I was like, maybe I was the only one, but when he was like, I just broke up with the Avatar, I was sitting there like clapping at the screen with the biggest, goofiest grin on my face, like, finally, good gosh, I've been waiting for this. And then when Lin comes in with that line about, oh, you should have seen Air Temple Island once Tenzin broke up with me. And I'm like, oh my god, did you just made this moment so much better for me? And then when she said, what the flameo happened? Which I guess is what is that, the Avatar equivalent of the F word? Flameo? I don't know, but, yeah, this video is going to be very long. I didn't want it to be this long. But, my train of thought got interrupted a few times. But anyway, yeah. if I've got any more, I'll put it in my second thoughts video, which hopefully won't take until next Friday to post, but yeah, next Saturday, I guess. So, yeah, that's all I got. If, I don't know. It was just a really cool episode to me. I start to get a little worked up every time I think about it. But, yeah. So, this episode, honestly, I would have said was it last week's? Yeah, I think last week's episode was the best. But this week's episode, just because of the ending, is the best for me. Of course, it's only, if it does it right, it's only got uphill to go from here. So, yeah. If you would like to, you can leave me a comment below telling me what you liked about this episode or didn't like about this episode. Yeah, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace, love, cactus juice.